Today, I want to talk to you about how to make success automatic. Think about the people you really admire. You watch how they live. Everything just seems effortless. We can make success automatic, and it happens by exact design just as much as we can make failure automatic. Now, you may be on either end of the spectrum. There's going to be people watching this who are really making it happen this year in 2024. And there's other people who start and stop, never go for full transformation. I did this event a few weeks ago in London, and I told everybody there's two camps of people. There's people who just want information, and there's people who want transformation. The people who want transformation, those are the people that invest in deep coaching. Those are people who are willing to build discipline. Those are people who have made an irrevocable, committed decision that they're going to change their life. Now, I can tell you, whichever your camp you're on, I've been on both ends. 17 years ago, when I first started this, I started studying it 20 years ago, but I was creating no results. 17 years ago, I hired my mentor, and everything changed. And I remember telling him, everything, when I was watching him, everything was effortless. I remember I'd watch him create videos. It was like an artist working. It was one take. And I remember asking him, I said, how do you do this so effortlessly? He said, practice. Lots of years of practice. But I remember we were in a studio in Scottsdale, and I remember thinking to myself, I want to get that good where I make my success automatic. And that's what I've done. And I can tell you, it's a lot more fun winning than it is losing. But understand there's a reason where failing is automatic, and there's a reason succeeding is automatic. And I'm gonna discuss this. Now, I want to teach you how to multiply your results today. I want you to imagine, what if by the end of the year, you multiplied your results significantly? What if you had a 4x increase in your results? What would that do for you? Well, I know it will make you happy. I know it'll give you a lot more self-respect. And I know you're going to keep upping the ante the next 90 days going into next year. Now, in order to multiply our results, we have to have explosive thinking. That's thinking effortlessly, but thinking with confidence, thinking with a swagger. See, what we have to do is evaluate, how am I thinking right now? Am I in protective mode? That's how most people are trained consciously. They're constantly training themselves to protect themselves. So what they're dumping into their subconscious is, how can I make failing automatic? That's exactly what they're dumping in. And then you'll have the other end of the spectrum where people are just living out of their comfort zone. They know, they don't care about failing. They know that their job is to get uncomfortable every day. Well, what are they doing? They're activating their success mechanism, and they are thinking explosively. When we think explosively, we're not wondering, I wonder if it's not going to happen. The person who's thinking explosively is thinking, I know I may fail, but my job is to come with pure confidence, let go, and give myself a shot. So ask yourself, are you thinking passively? Are you thinking not to lose? Or are you thinking of how you really want to live? Now, I will tell you this. What you do in the next 30 days is what's key. Whenever I'm working with my elite clients, I work with them on creating wins every 30 days. We have focused 30-day goals. Why do I set focused 30-day goals? Because it's a short-term goal. It creates small wins that are going to create big wins. I want you to imagine that every 30 days you hit your 30-day goal easily and effortlessly. Imagine how much growth that will have for you. Imagine how much confidence that will build. But in order to do this, you have to get in control of your thinking. You cannot play your life passive. You cannot play your life in protective mode. You have to fully let go. That's where your confidence is released. But I want you to ask yourself right now, in the next 30 days, what is my 30-day goal? And I want it to be something that is going to stretch you. Don't do things you've already done. Set a 30-day goal that's going to break through a plateau. Now, freedom demands personal transformation. And I'm writing a book right now. I actually just finished the first copy of it, where we're editing it now. And it's called Transform. Personal freedom demands personal transformation. That's something I learned a long time ago. Wealth is created by your daily personal transformation. Now, I've been fortunate enough that I've become a great student. I have become an absolute avid student of implementing these ideas. Because if you don't implement these ideas, all it is information. And I have had the best mentors. I constantly, like I have a meeting today with my coach. Why do I do that? Because I know there's other levels that I could get to. And I want somebody looking at my blind spots. But what I'm doing is every day I demand personal transformation. Why am I sharing that to you? Because for you to create the type of life you want, it's going to demand you to transform. Now, the magic is always going to be in how you see yourself. Right now, if you go back to what I was talking about earlier, if you're always protecting yourself, you see yourself very small. The only reason you're protecting yourself is you're afraid to lose. You're worried about what other people are thinking. I want you to constantly look to fail. Constantly look to fail. Like if you were with me this past weekend, I was with my daughter, and she had a tennis lesson. And she was pretty hard on herself. I said, listen, failing's part of the deal. And she was way too hard on herself. And I told her, and I high-fived her for failing. Because I said, that's how you're going to grow. I want her to have a great relationship with failing. Well, most of the adults that I mentor, they have a terrible relationship with failing. And that's what's created their low self-esteem. That's what's created them holding back. That's why they don't have the discipline. So the magic is in how you see yourself. Now, I want you to look at this. Are you operating from your greatest self or your weakest self? Let's look at the characteristics. Your weakest self doesn't feel like showing up the way you want to. Like you always give yourself it out. You're always renegotiating with yourself. You avoid difficult conversations. You avoid certain goals. You avoid certain situations. And you're saying, next year, I'll be ready to do it. You're constantly coming from pressure. Where is that pressure? That may be from your bills. That may be from lack of income. That may be from beating yourself up. So we want to release your weaker self. And the weaker self is always coming from the old story. The old story is constantly controlling them. And you're constantly in a state of resistance. Now let's look at the other side, your greatest self. What is your greatest self? You do what you want. You're not worried about what other people are thinking. You're willing to fail. You're willing to succeed greatly. You are betting on yourself. You live life on your own terms, and your natural state is abundance. Now, you're operating from one or the other. But to make success automatic, we have to make an irrevocable, committed decision. This is where I am all in. Now, if I said, just look at the last 7 days and look at your actions, look at your processes, because remember, your processes design your life the way you want it to be, and you're going to know what type of decision you've made. I had a gentleman in Europe when I was there doing this event, and he said, what is an irrevocable decision? I said, well, you're from Switzerland. I said, how did you get here? He said, I took a train. I said, think about how many excuses you could have made to not come here. That is an irrevocable, committed decision. You were going to do what was essential to get there. See, we've got to start simplifying this. Every one of us understands, and all you have to do is look at your past. When you wanted to do something so badly, you didn't let any obstacle get in your way. But we have to have the courage to bet on ourselves. That's the only way you're going to unleash your greatest self. You're not going to unleash your greatest self protecting yourself. You're not going to create success automatically playing not to lose. So you are the best person to bet on. Now, I'll tell you a story. When I was first getting mentored by my mentor 17 years ago, first conversation, he said, there's only two people you have to bet on. You have to bet on you and you have to bet on me. And he said, Arash, there's no two better people to bet on. He said, you don't need to know how to do it, but you have to bet on yourself. You have to be willing to take the risk to go after it. And he said, I will show you how to do it. I remember thinking, when was the last time I did something remarkable? I remember that moment thinking that. When was the last time I put myself on the hook? And even though I was studying this, I wasn't going for transformation those 3 previous years. I was lying to myself. I was thinking transformation was going to be in my comfort zone. When I bet on myself and I said I am willing to transform by my actions, hence I hired a mentor that was way out of my comfort zone because I didn't have the money. Like if you looked at my bank account, I had to get very creative to come up with the money. But that was the day my life changed. So don't you think it's time for you to really commit to making success automatic? But in order to do that, I want you to bet on yourself right now. And take my example. When you bet on yourself, life becomes absolutely amazing. Now, we have to understand and take an honest look at where you are right now. Are you creating success automatically? Are you failing automatically? Are you up and down? See, if we're up and down in our results, I don't consider that succeeding automatically. So you've got to take an honest look at where you are in your life. And I promise you, before I can go any further, that will tell you your commitment level. That will tell you if you're just listening to me on our YouTube channel, which I'm glad you are. I will tell you that right now because I want to impact you. But are you just here for gathering more information? Or are you ready to implement it? Are you ready to get proper direction that's going to create the proper processes that's going to create your life the way you really want it to be? It's your choice. But we have to understand the results always tell the truth. They don't sometimes tell the truth. They always tell the truth. Now, if I was telling you to look at your results right now, let me give you 2 really great questions. What do you need to eliminate? What do you need to quit at that no longer serves you? I'm reading this great book right now by Seth Godin called The Dip. And he says, the best in the world are willing to quit at what doesn't serve them. They're really good at quitting a lot of things that don't serve them. So if I asked you right now, what do you need to quit right now that is just based on habit, that is not allowing you to go there? Is it, I've got to start quitting negotiating with myself. I've got to start quitting worrying about what other people are thinking. I've got to start quitting thinking of myself small. What would really create the biggest lift for you? And the second question is, where am I lying to myself right now? Where am I telling myself I'm doing this, but not doing it? You know, I always, the reason my clients get such remarkable results is we have an easy, effortless process of how to take somebody from inspirationally dissatisfied to freedom. And I just show them exactly what to do because I think that's the thing that most people don't have is direction. And a lot of people in the beginning, they say, do you think this is going to be hard? I said, it'll be as hard as easy as you make it, but it's not going to be hard because I'm not going to be hard on you. I'm going to stretch you in the most inspirational way. But the reason they get results is because we create 14, 30-day wins. We give them exact direction of what to do. But we get them to embrace their results. I want you to embrace your results. Why? Why do I want you to look at your results? I don't want you to allow the results to control you. I want you to be neutral. But when you embrace the results, the first thing it does, it gives you clarity. It says, oh, this is what's working. I want to do this even better. Or this is showing me something I don't like, so I've got to be flexible to change it. Why else? It allows you to see patterns. It allows you to see your behaviors, because your future is shaped by your identity. And if you want to know where your identity is, observe your behaviors. The results will always show you your behaviors. And it prevents you from making the same mistakes over and over again. But if we're not willing to look at the results, if we're lying to ourselves, if we're holding on to the habits that no longer serve us, that's where people keep making failure automatic. So it's your choice. Do you want to make success automatic, or do you want to make failure automatic? And it allows you to build the knowledge of what you're doing well. Listen, I am looking at the results. This is what I'm doing really well. But the results will allow you to emphasize what is important. What is important? What is creating those results? The type of actions you take. The most important thing that you and I are going to do today is the type of actions we take. Weak actions, weak results. Actions out of our comfort zone, transforming our identity, transforming our results over doing it every day, compounded over time, that's going to create the big results. So I encourage you to look at the results, because it's telling you your own personal story. It's telling you how you see yourself. It's telling you what you're willing and not willing to do. But I will tell you, to make success automatic, you have to pay the price, but the price is so rewarding and it's so worth it, because you're going to gain so much self-respect. You're investing in you. Everything you're doing in a positive behavior is activating more and more abundance. Just one positive thing you do for yourself is activating a greater amount of abundance in your life. But remember, you can never get results beyond your current level of thinking. I want you to observe the results. That tells us how your thinking pattern has been. So if you want greater results, we've got to upgrade greater explosive thinking. And if you don't think thinking matters, I can tell you the amount of money you're earning, the type of relationships you have, the type of health you have is in complete harmony with how you've been thinking. And I want you to burn this in your mind. I tell everybody this at my world-class wealth event. I said the currency for attracting what we want in our lives is our thinking. So can you change your thinking? Yes. But you've got to understand, my whole intent today is to help you make success automatic. But in order to do that, you have to understand the three sides of your personality: your conscious mind, your subconscious, and your body. Now, your conscious mind, we want it working for your subconscious mind. Your conscious mind is, if it's conditioned right now for what you don't want, it is, the way you're using it is to protect yourself. Your conscious mind is your manual mind. It's your rational mind. Your subconscious mind is your power source. It is what is creating results. When you're sleeping at night, it is what is keeping you breathing. It is what is getting your heart pumping. But the way that it works, you have your conscious mind, you have your subconscious mind. In the middle, you have your gatekeeper. And what happens is, if you are in protective mode, your subconscious mind is going to be trained for failure. If you are not emotionalizing your ideas, you're trying to create bigger results with 2 to 4% of your power. Your subconscious doesn't get it. The gatekeeper goes to the subconscious mind and says, do you want it? And he says, no, I don't understand that. That's not emotion. And it goes and keeps gathering more and more and more information. It's going to demand confidence. What is confidence? Confidence is your ability to let go and say, this is what I'm doing. The outcome's already done. Now your subconscious is working for you. But understand, your conscious mind for ancestry is conditioned to play it safe. But that's why 1% of the population is really financially independent. And 99% are playing it safe. But in order to create the life you want, you've got to let go. You've got to train your conscious mind and understand that I want my conscious mind working for my subconscious. I want to give it the ideas, and I want to train myself to think out of my comfort zone. I don't want to train myself to continue playing it safe, because that is just in harmony with what you don't want. And in order to do this, when I talked about what do you need to eliminate, you have to eliminate thinking in lack and limitation. You have to make a rule for yourself and make it your standard. I only think in abundance. That is how, over a 6-month period, you're going to turn from training yourself from a poverty consciousness to a wealth consciousness. If you keep thinking the same thoughts, have the same feelings, you're going to keep creating the same results. That is the fulfilling cycle of doom. But in order to do this, we've got to get you to use 96 to 98% of your power. That's subconscious. So what does that mean? If you worked with me, I would teach you how to dump your processes in that subjective part of you. Why? Because the processes create the results by default. I don't teach anybody how to manually create the processes. That's just intellectually. When I do this, then I do this. There's no power there. I say this is the belief installation process. This is the process to take massive action. This is the process to create proximity around the people who are really going to up your game. See, we've got to understand, why is success automatic? Because it's automatic on the subjective level. But there is not one person that I know that from birth just had that. Why? Because we have virus codes, we have programming. And at the foundation of everything, until you change your programming, the outside is not going to change. But how you change your programming is with discipline. And I want to get you to discipline yourself to think what you want, when you want, in the way you want, because that's what is going to make success automatic for you. And that's what's going to allow your dreams to come to fruition. But you want to understand there's an identity gap. And we want to identify, what is that identity gap? What must I eliminate that's going to take me from where I am to where I want to go? See, if we're not willing to look at our behaviors, we're never going to find the identity gap. If we're not willing to have a goal that drives us, we're never going to find our identity gap. But what is the greatest obstacle and sabotager to a new identity is somebody who's protecting themselves. They're constantly training their conscious mind. Let's play it safe. Let's just play it safe. We're not here to play it safe. We've got to stop screwing around with our life and go after what we really want. I start thinking right away when I say that. That idea has been inundated from my mentor, Bob Proctor. He used to say, Rush, stop screwing around. If you're not going after something scary, you are wasting your time. He said, you have made so much change, it's only going to get better. Keep stretching it. You see, when we start asking the right questions, we're going to get the right answers. Ask yourself the question, why am I playing it safe? Why am I thinking small? Whenever you ask the question, you're shaping your behavior because you get the answer right away. And questions influence us. Questions shape performance. See, confidence is going to take you to the finish line. How do you develop confidence? You let go. You hire a mentor who really knows what they're doing, because they're going to see you much greater than you see yourself. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you don't have a mentor, you are missing out. See, nothing will change if you keep coming from your paradigm. You've got to really up the game. You've got to get the proper direction. But understand, making success automatic is going to be about your habits and attitudes. So what habits right now, going back to my question of what do we need to quit at using Seth Godin's philosophy, and I loved it, what habits that I have to quit that no longer work? Is that playing it safe? Is that keep doing what I'm doing, lying to myself, renegotiating? Lack of discipline, is that a habit that I need to quit so I create great discipline? And then ask yourself, what habits are going to be in harmony with making success automatic. And right now you may be watching and be like, I would love success to be automatic. Well, it's automatic for millions of people. There's millions of people right now. They woke up today, they knew they were going to win. I wake up every day, I know I'm going to win. Why? Because I've done the work for the past 17 years. Why do I keep hiring mentors? Because I have blind spots. I want to keep getting better. I want somebody to push me. See, we want to understand this, but at the epiphany of all this, none of this happens if you don't have a goal that drives you. But the best in the world are not the best in the world by accident. They are the best in the world because they have a magnificent obsession. Their want is through the roof. When your want is not through the roof, that's when you lack. That's when you're in lacking limitation. That's when you're settling. And we've got to make it part of our standard that we never settle for lesser goals, ever. The reason people start and stop isn't because they're not capable of something extraordinary. It's because they're setting too small of goals. See, when you make your goals so big in your mind, I want you to think of yourself right now that you're a legend already. You've got to see yourself that before you're going to see it in your life. See, whenever I look at my goal, like my goal right now, you know what it tells me? I don't have the confidence for it yet. Because if I had the confidence for it, I'd already have it. And if you were working with me in my office last week, if you were a fly on the wall, last week, I doubled my goal. Why did I double it? I was like, I'm capable of so much more. And I doubled it and I committed to it. And that's all I'm auto-suggesting is my new goal. But whenever I set a goal, I commit with every cell of my being. And the outcome's already done. Now, my job is to build up my confidence. How do I build up my confidence? I got to get greater at getting out of my comfort zone. See, you're going to see there's going to be layers of getting out of your comfort zone. And to me, getting out of your comfort zone is where the goal achievement starts. Like until I get out of my comfort zone, it's not going to start. See, and I always say, am I capable of the goal? And I say right away, of course I'm capable. If one person can do it, I can do it. So understand, when we keep upping the confidence game, the goal achievement's going to come effortlessly. But the minute you accept the idea, like the minute I wrote the goal down, I activated, I went to that frequency. And now all I think about is who I have to be. And the more I think about it, I'm turning my goal into a greater and greater love story. Within 2 weeks, I already have that connection with the goal. But in order to do that, I have to build a much bigger and greater model of my future self. And so how do you build a model of your future self? You first have to connect to it. See, one of the greatest things that I've told you today is your story is either empowering you or holding you back. So how can I create a connection of my future self? I'm going to give it to you right now. You want to pay very close attention. You want to write a letter to your future self every day for the next 30 days. Every day. Why do you want to write it? You script it and you write exactly what you're going to achieve in the future, in the present tense though. And you're writing it to your future self. I design it where I say, future self, I'm so happy and grateful now that this is what we've done together. And this is what we've achieved. And I write it every day. Why? Why do I write it every day for 30 days? That's what creates a deeper connection to it. And that's how you're going to get connected to what are the behaviors my future self has. Now, what most people do, they jump right into goal setting without looking at what they need to eliminate from their past. What do you need to eliminate? But what's interesting, if we don't eliminate the destructive habits from our past self, we're going to create it in our future. So we want to transform our past so we can transform our future. Now, your future self is a completely different person than you are today. Now, the masses don't think that. They think this is who they are. This is where they're going to be in 10 years, but not you. You're not on my YouTube channel not to build a great future, not to build a life of freedom. A life of freedom is your birthright. But are you going to continue just getting information, or are you going to go for transformation? I want you to connect to your future self, because what you're doing right now in the present is driven by your future. If you have a weak vision of your future, you're going to have weak actions in the present. You're not going to spend the time building the processes that are going to be essential to build your future self. And what is one common denominator that I could tell you my future self is always telling me? Stretch your thinking, stretch your actions, get out of your comfort zone. And the side effect is going to be a lot of discomfort. I promise you it's going to be a lot of discomfort, but the rewards are going to be so magical. And burn this idea in your mind. Everything you're doing in this present moment right now is an investment in your future self. Have you plateaued in your thinking? You plateaued your future. Are you really moving the needle? You're going to move the needle in the future. But how do we bulletproof that we're coming from our future self? It's always the power of 5. I teach it as one of my core principles. You want this principle to work for you. If you work this principle, it's going to work automatically for you. Just like the law of gravity. If I go on top of my roof and jump off, I'm going to come to the ground. See, we've got to understand the genius is in the invisible side. And this is where we have to tap into our higher faculties. I say this all the time. Our higher faculties are to the invisible world. That fifth dimensional thinking, that explosive thinking, is what our eyes or ears are to our body. So how do I do it? From now on, I'm going to discipline myself that I'm going to make success automatic, and I'm going to make every decision from my future self. If I observe myself and say, oh, today I didn't make decisions from my future, I made it from my past or present, I'm going to calm myself down. I'm not going to beat myself up. I'm going to say, tomorrow I'm making every decision. So you're consciously making the decision. What does that mean? You're being hyper intentional. That's how you inundate the subjective mind. You're not going to inundate it if you're not hyper intentional. And then you're going to build the disciplines from your future self. Like right now, if I told you, what one discipline would your future self have that you currently don't have, that is the reason you're not making success automatic? That's the discipline you work on. And then we always bring our standard from our future self. We bring our present results up to the standard of the future self, and we hold it. I'm going to fail. I'm not seeing the results, not seeing it, and then it's going to come. And then my job is to build my identity from my future self. How does my future self think? That's how I think every day. How does my future self feel? I'm already training my subconscious mind to feel how I would feel like I already achieved success automatic. And then I take the actions from my future self. And I always operate from the most amazing positive mental attitude where I look for the good in everything. See, if you look over the last 10 years, psychology has taught us they have changed the way they think about the future self. And you want to start inundating this because that's how you're going to make success automatic. But none of this happens without action. I told you this earlier. We've got to operate with confidence, and I want your actions to be with full confidence. Well, let's say somebody's sitting there right now saying, Arash, I don't have the confidence. I get that because I didn't have the confidence before. You do it one action at a time where you are an actor, an actress, and you're playing that role. But you have to operate your actions with confidence. If you operate them with doubt, you're putting a vibration of doubt into the universe. And I want you to understand action is the foundation of success. You are not going to change your programming, which until you change your programming, you're not going to take the actions that are not going to change the results. They work in harmony. We want to discipline ourselves to develop the ability to take action with confidence, action with that swagger. And you know if you're operating with your future self because you do it now, do it now, do it now. The time to act is always when the idea is burning hot in your mind and the emotion is strong. And when you make do it now as a brain tattoo, listen, if I told you what one thing would change your identity over the next 30 days, everything you do, do it now. Watch how much it'll change your life. We have to put action into a disciplined activity. Once we take our most important action steps every day from our future self, you're going to create automatic success. And I'm telling you, success will start becoming automatic within 6 months of proper direction from the right mentor. And I hope that mentors me, because I love this. I love getting people to live at their potential. But I will tell you, get away from gathering information. It has no power. It's not going to move the needle. We've got to go for full-blown transformation. Now, that transformation for you could be 2xing your results. That's fine. Some people may want a 20x. Some people may want a 5x. It does not matter. Whatever the goal is, it's your goal. And the goal always determines the process. And you will always see immediate results by acting on your ideas. But the beautiful part is, it's going to be a part of your identity. Massive transformation in your identity. But remember, every action leads to the next action, the next action, and the next action. It is your internal GPS. Without the action, none of it's going to happen. Make success automatic. But ask yourself, how do you constantly push yourself past your limits? You don't do it by yourself. You never do it alone. You've got to get the proper direction. Look at you right now. Do you have the right processes? Do you even know what I'm talking about with processes? The goal always determines the process. We want to create the exact process for your mindset. We want to create the exact process for your disciplines. I want to help you create the exact process with your action steps. I want you to look at the exact processes of how do I create the right proximity in my environment. See, that's why mentorship. I highly encourage you to make success automatic. And if you really want it, you come let me help you and I will help you. You never have to do it alone. I hope you got a ton of value out of this. I think this is an important lesson. And understand, when we make a commitment, when I was talking about irrevocable committed decision, it is done. That's what an irrevocable decision is. It is done. Success is done. It is automatic for you. Thank you so much.